I have a question for you. In what language you're thinking to say what I'm doing? If you're thinking in your Spanish, your German, your Japanese, your French, your Hindi, your Arabic language, you're not thinking English. Back then, when I'd speak English, my brain would instantly start translating from my native language. I'd hesitate. I was like, what's the English word for this? And when I watched movies, my brain kept translating every line, every sentence that I couldn't keep up with what was happening. And the same thing happened when I listened to podcasts or read books. You might wonder, is it possible to think in English when your brain is already full of your native language? Well, of course, do not get disappointed. I used to believe only people who learned English as kids could do that. But obviously, I was wrong. Once I finally learned how to think in English, everything changed. I realized my brain could understand and speak and write English naturally without any translating. So in this video, I'll show you 6 powerful tips to train your brain to think in English. I'll also show you how much practice. Well, actually, how little practice you need each day to make it happen. So let's get straight into it. Connect words and sentences to images. I used to randomly search for pictures on Google and say a word or a sentence about each image. This game is really fun. You should try it. I'd look at a photo and just say the first word or a sentence that came to mind. Like, look at this photo. I would say animal, elephant, dark, sky, or the sky is full of stars. That was enough. I didn't need any fancy words. I just want to train my brain to think in English. This is like a fun game, so interesting. What happens when you do this game? Your brain stops translating. You don't need to think in your native language first and then try to translate everything in English. You just think directly in English. When you see a picture of an animal, for example, your brain goes, oh, let me recall the English word for this. You see, you're connecting what you see directly to English words. And this is exactly how a child learns a language, through seeing, hearing, and feeling, not by translating everything. This means you're shifting the connection in your brain from your native language to English. And every time you do this, your brain takes one step closer to thinking in English. Interesting, right? It's a simple game, but there's a deep scientific process behind it. But that alone isn't enough. Let's move on to tip number 2. Use an English to English dictionary. Here's a really useful tip. When you come across a word that you don't know, don't rush to dictionary right away. First, try to figure out its meaning from the overall context of the sentence, general tone, and body language, and focus on understanding the main idea. If you still can't make sense of a word, then grab a dictionary, but not any dictionary. Another fantastic way that helped me to think in English was to use English to English dictionary, and my favorite one is Cambridge Dictionary. You might think, then don't I need to understand what it means in my language first? Well, I used to think like this, but the answer is no. You see, if you want to speak English, you have to know the word as an English word. When you use an English dictionary, your brain is forced to understand the word in English. It understands it as an English word. For example, take the word curious. Instead of going straight to Google Translate to look it up in your own language, in Spanish, Arabic, Persian, Japanese, try to look it up in Cambridge Dictionary. Cambridge explains everything in a simple way. It says curious means interested in learning about people or things. It also shows you some examples which makes it way easier to understand. Like, I was curious to know what would happen next. It also shows you which preposition you should use with the word curious. which it's about. You have to say curious about. Babies are curious about everything around them. And there's one more example. Why did you ask? I was just curious. And here you can check the correct pronunciation for the word curious. Two things happens here. One, your brain builds a direct neural link between the word and its meaning. No native language needed. And two, gradually your brain gets used to figuring out the meaning of a word or a sentence in English on its own. It's simple, but the effect is amazing. Surround yourself with English like you're swimming in the ocean. You see, the most important thing I did was to surround myself with English. You might say, but I don't live in an English-speaking country. How can I immerse myself in English? Well, absolutely, you don't need that. I wasn't living in an English-speaking country too. So what I did, I'd watch movies in English, listen to podcasts, read English books, write my notes in English, and change my calendar to English. And even I set my phone and laptop language to English. Cognitive scientists say that the brain learns faster when it recognizes the environment as real and natural. Let me make one thing clear. Your brain works with your environment, not with your intentions. I want to think in English. This is your intention. But this won't make your brain listen. Your brain responds when you actually change your environment to be full of English. And that's why you're thinking in your native language, because your day and your environment is full of your native language. But if you change it, if you change your day and your environment and fill it with English, you'll start thinking in English. Describe your actions in English. This tip is super simple, but incredibly effective. Whenever you're doing something, try describing it in English. For example, when you make breakfast, say what's happening as you do it. Even better, say it out loud. For example, you can say, I'm pouring the milk, I'm cutting the bread, I'm making coffee. And if you can, say it out loud. Don't be like, I'm pouring the milk, I'm cutting the bread. No, say it out loud and be confident. Don't say it with hesitation. Say, I'm pouring the milk, I'm cutting the bread, I'm making coffee. When I first started doing this, my mom would say, have you lost your mind? I know it might sound silly at first, but those descriptions turn into automatic thoughts in your head. After a while, you will notice that your thoughts in your head are in English. Let's imagine one of those automatic thoughts. When you're getting dressed for a date, you're standing in front of the mirror, putting on your clothes, not saying a word. You're quiet, but your mind is talking nonstop. Oh, this shirt doesn't match these pants. I should wear jeans instead. The white shirt doesn't look good on me. Maybe I'll try the black one. Oh no, what's going on with my hair today? These are exactly the kinds of thoughts that start happening in English as a result of this practice. So what's really happening here? Your brain starts creating English sentences based on real life situations. So this means the thinking process changes from situation, translation, English sentences to situation, English sentences. Using chunking technique, memory researchers say that learning single words is less effective, but learning ready-made phrases and sentences is much more effective. This technique is called chunking, memorizing chunks of language. And I'm saying it again, it's extremely effective. Like at the very beginning, we learned you're welcome as a response to thank you. That's a chunk. Do we actually stop and hesitate and translate? Of course, we don't do that. We just memorize it as a chunk. You're welcome. So now it comes out instantly without translation. Or for example, how are you? We learned it as a greeting, something we say when we meet someone. We learned it as a chunk. Do we actually stop and think, wait, is it how you are, what you are? Well, no, we just say, how are you? Without thinking, without translating. I remember 10 years ago, I studied German for 2 months. I couldn't keep up. I stopped. Then I forgot almost everything, except one phrase that I'd memorized as a chunk. It's Hatten Sie eine gute Reise, which it means, did you have a good trip? It's insane. This is the only thing that I can say instantly without thinking. So believe in the magic of chunking. Instead of memorizing single words, memorize things in chunk, like I'm looking forward to. It depends on. You don't need to build sentences from scratch. Your brain stores each phrase as one single unit, not separate words, so that next time in the same situation, you'll be able to use it naturally without thinking and hesitation. And the last one, lower your expectations. You see, if you want to train your brain to think in English, you have to be patient. As humans, we all want fast results. We start something new and we want to see fast, immediate progress. But the brain doesn't work like that. It's not a light switch. When I was trying to think in English, I was so frustrated. And most of that frustration came from expecting instant result. You see, I would try something, I'd practice something for a little while, and then I was like, I should be thinking in English by now. But my brain was still translating, and that was so discouraging. So to see the result, you need to practice for 30 minutes every day consistently for 3 months. Well, definitely you'll notice small shifts in a few weeks of consistent daily practice. Think of it like training a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger and faster it gets. But it never happens instantly. Alright, that's it for today's video. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.